Sarah Mitchell had been carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders for longer than she cared to remember. At 58, she'd spent the last 3 years caring for her mother through illness, managing her father's estate after he passed, and trying to keep her own household running smoothly. Her husband Tom meant well, but he was busy with his own struggles at work. Their children had grown and moved away, building lives in distant cities. Sarah had learned to shoulder everything quietly, the way her generation had been taught. The pain in her back had become her constant companion. It started as a dull ache between her shoulder blades and gradually spread until even simple tasks like reaching for a coffee mug sent sharp reminders through her body. She'd tried everything the drugstore offered. Heat pads, ice packs, those topical creams that smelled like a medicine cabinet. Nothing helped for long. It was her friend Linda who finally convinced her to try something different. They'd been having lunch at their usual spot, the little cafe on Maple Street where they'd been meeting for 20 years. Linda had noticed Sarah wincing as she reached for the sugar. "Honey, you need to do something about that back," Linda said, stirring her tea. "I know a wonderful massage therapist. Her name is Claire. She's got a little studio downtown, very quiet and peaceful. You'd like her." Sarah hesitated. The idea of lying on a table while a stranger touched her back felt uncomfortable. Vulnerable. She'd always been the one taking care of others, not the one being cared for. But the pain was getting worse, and she was tired. So very tired. "All right," she finally said. "I'll give her a call." 2 weeks later, Sarah found herself climbing the stairs to Claire's studio. It was tucked above an antique shop on a quiet street she'd driven past 1,000 times but never really noticed. The door at the top of the stairs was painted a soft blue, with a small brass nameplate that simply read, "Claire Thompson, Massage Therapy." Inside, the space was nothing like Sarah had imagined. Soft afternoon light filtered through gauzy curtains. The air smelled faintly of lavender. There were no harsh fluorescent lights, no clinical feeling at all. It felt like walking into someone's peaceful living room. Claire emerged from a back room, and Sarah was immediately put at ease. She was perhaps in her mid-40s, with kind eyes and a warm smile that reached all the way to those eyes. She wore simple clothes and had her hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. "You must be Sarah," Claire said, extending her hand. "Linda told me so much about you. Come on in. Let's talk for a few minutes before we start." They sat in 2 comfortable chairs by the window. Claire didn't rush. She asked Sarah about her pain, yes, but also about her life. About her mother's recovery. About her children. About how she was really doing. It had been so long since anyone had asked Sarah that question and actually waited for the real answer. "I'm just tired," Sarah admitted, surprised by her own honesty. "I feel like I've been holding everything together for so long, and I don't know how to let go." Claire nodded with understanding. "Well, let's see if we can help your body let go a little bit today. Sometimes when our bodies relax, our minds follow. Would you like to give it a try?" Sarah changed into a soft robe and lay face down on the massage table. The headrest was comfortable, and there was a small heated pad that warmed her feet. Claire draped a sheet over her and began with just her hands resting gently on Sarah's back. "I'm going to start very slowly," Claire said softly. "If anything is uncomfortable, you just let me know." The first few minutes were unremarkable. Claire's hands moved gently across Sarah's shoulders and upper back, just light pressure, nothing that seemed like it would make much difference. Sarah found herself wondering if this was worth the money, if she should have just saved the expense. Then something shifted. Claire's hands found a spot between Sarah's shoulder blades, right where the pain had been living for months. She applied steady, gentle pressure, and suddenly Sarah felt something she hadn't expected. It wasn't just physical relief, though that was there. It was something deeper. 3 minutes into the massage, Sarah started to cry. Not delicate tears, deep, body-shaking sobs that came from somewhere she'd kept locked away for years. All the grief she hadn't let herself feel when her father died. All the fear she'd carried during her mother's illness. All the loneliness of being strong for everyone else. It all came pouring out. The sounds that came from her throat surprised her. Low moans and cries that seemed to belong to someone else. She was mortified, but she couldn't stop. Her body had taken over, releasing what her mind had been holding. Claire didn't stop working. She didn't say anything trite or try to shush Sarah's tears. She just kept her hands moving with that same steady, gentle pressure, creating a safe space for whatever needed to come out. "It's okay," Claire said quietly. "You're safe here. Let it out." Sarah cried for what felt like hours but was probably only 10 minutes. Gradually, the sobs subsided into quiet tears, then into deep, shuddering breaths. Her body felt different, lighter somehow. The tension that had been her constant companion had loosened its grip. Claire continued the massage, working down Sarah's back with patient, knowing hands. She didn't try to fill the silence with chatter. She just let Sarah be exactly where she was. By the time the session ended an hour later, Sarah felt like a different person. Not fixed, exactly. Her problems hadn't disappeared, but something had shifted inside her. She'd let herself be vulnerable, let herself be cared for, and the world hadn't ended. When Sarah was dressed and ready to leave, Claire walked her to the door. "Thank you," Sarah said, and her voice was thick with emotion. "I'm sorry about the crying. I don't know what came over me." Claire smiled. "Don't apologize. That's your body releasing what it's been holding. It's actually a beautiful thing. It means you're starting to let yourself heal." Sarah drove home slowly, taking the long way through neighborhoods where maple trees were just starting to show their autumn colors. She felt raw but also somehow new. Clean. That evening, she told Tom about the experience. Not just about the massage, but about the crying, about how it felt to finally let go. He listened in a way he hadn't listened in years, really hearing her. "Maybe I need to let you take care of you more," he said, taking her hand. Sarah started seeing Claire every 2 weeks. The pain in her back gradually improved, but that wasn't really why she kept going. Each session gave her permission to be human, to be vulnerable, to release whatever she'd been carrying. She learned that strength didn't mean holding everything inside. Sometimes the bravest thing you could do was let yourself break a little so you could heal properly. Months later, Sarah would tell Linda that the massage had changed her life. Not because of some dramatic transformation, but because it had reminded her of something she'd forgotten. That she deserved care too. That letting others help wasn't weakness. That sometimes the kindest thing you could do for yourself was simply allow yourself to feel. The moaning and crying that had embarrassed her so much that first day became a story she told with a small smile. It was the sound of a woman finally giving herself permission to be human. And there was no shame in that. Only grace.